A very good evening to you and welcome to CoreTV News in this hour. I am Nina Oragwa. President Muhammadu Buhari has presented the 2016 budget of 6.8 trillion naira before a joint section of the National Assembly. The budget presentation is coming after the National Assembly recently approved the medium-term expenditure framework. The president stated that the budget will focus on unemployment, youth development, teachers training, security and infrastructure. Highlights of the budget presentation see education, defense, health and interior having major budgetary allocations. The president further stressed that the government will diversify on non-oil revenues, considering the current oil price between $32 to $38 per barrel. The president further stated that the price of petrol would remain at 87 naira per litre as the government effortlessly tackles the lingering fuel scarcity in the country. Meanwhile, reactions have continued to trail the presentation of 2016 budget by the President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. Speaking on our flagship program called Digest, economist Henry Boyo believes that the 2016 budget presentation has nothing different from the previous budget. He opined on the corrupt practices bedeviling the nation. On a spot, chartered accountant Bala Zaka says the budgetary allocation, when implemented, should be utilized in the right channels.
The Sure P program also, they boasted they will do this and do that and that. So that's what I'm saying, that basically we're still talking in terms of intentions rather than whether those intentions, well, whether those intentions or the actualization can come from those intentions being predicated on viable channels or viable wheels that would, drive the implementation. And in the past, we have never seen much in the area of implementation of capital expenditure, and we are believing in the body language of Mr. President that this would be different this time. But as I say, even if it was different, it's still a very small drop in the ocean compared to what we require.
He said we will say we have had it before, and he also made it clear that his lieutenants or his supportive team are already aware of the enormous task.
And where he is going.
Exactly, and he went further also to say Nigerians should hold them by what they are saying. Why I was impressed was because some leaders will have ordinarily used this opportunity to remove those things that they promised, which they knew they cannot fulfill. But in his own case, he went again to reiterate certain things. He said something about scholarships. He said something about defense. He said something about health. He said something about interior. And I think this time around, he should be held to account for that.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says the lingering fuel scarcity is the failure of the immediate past administration to make adequate provisions for fuel subsidy. He made a disclosure at the end of the Federal Executive meeting. The Federal Executive also deliberated on how to review existing taxation laws to raise additional revenues in the face of dwindling oil prices. Our correspondent, Abiola Oluwole, has more in this package.
After Friday postponement, the Federal Executive Council meeting eventually held on Monday. The meeting lasted about 2.5 hours, though it says it was not part of deliberations at the FEC, but the Minister of Information and Culture took time to explain why the fuel scarcity still lingers. It says the inability of ex-President Jonathan's administration to make adequate provision for fuel subsidy is the cause of the shortage.
One of the reasons why we have the fuel scarcity was the inability of the last government to make adequate provision for the fuel subsidy. Now, yes, we do face other, logistics problems, but majorly we are paying for the sins of the last administration.
He was optimistic that the scarcity will soon become a thing of the past as he appealed to Nigerians to bear with government.
The first thing we have done now is to make sure that, unlike before, when the marketers used to, import the major percentage of the fuel. NNPC has been involved in importation because many of the marketers have ceased importing in the last couple of months.
The Minister of National Planning and Budget, Udo Udoma, also says Council is considering the review of existing taxation law to shore up revenue for the implementation of the 2016 budget. A major reason for the FEC meeting was to debate the 2016 budget proposal before the eventual presentation to the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari. From the Presidential Villa in Abuja, Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News.
The federal government says it is keen on reviving the multi-billion-dollar Jalkuta steel plant rather than selling it. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Kayode Fayemi, disclosed this at his maiden interaction with the media in Abuja. He also used the platform to unfold his agenda for a sector he says had been ignored for decades. Our correspondent, Kazim Kasali, reports.
It was the minister's first session with the media since his appointment. Flanked by the Minister of State for Solid Minerals, Bawa Buhari, Fayemi says the past administration has not done a good job of managing the mining sector. He added that the nation's mineral endowments are actually far greater than is stated, but conceded that a lot needs to be done in the sector to make it one Nigerians will be proud of. One of the biggest issues for him is the Ajaokuta plant, which he described as the shame of a nation. The minister says the present administration is prepared to get it running with the required expertise.
It is a collective shame for all of us that such a massive project as the Ajaokuta steel plant can be allowed to remain moribund in spite of our sovereign resources that have been invested and its immense potentials. I'm inspired by the optimism in the media too and your commitment to our success. With your sustained support and feedback, we will win together on this journey.
He says his agenda as minister is to realize the vision of President Muhammadu Buhari for the sector as an alternative source of revenue. The minister added that the ministry will work with all stakeholders to ensure the success of the vision as well as remove all impediments to the development of the sector.
It's important that we continue to refine that structure until it gives us the type of industry all Nigerians and international investor friends will be proud of. We ask for your patience, but we also recognize our responsibility to boost confidence. As Solid Minerals' share of GDP grows over the coming years, we will continually review what we have done well and what can be improved. One thing we can guarantee is that this administration will make choices that will ensure that Nigeria and our partners, domestic and foreign, create a profitable, safe, and sustainable solid minerals growth story.
Fayemi is confident that Nigeria has enough precious metals to rival its neighbors like Ghana, which is noted for its gold resources, but considered that a lot more investment is required to make the sector profitable and sustainable. Kazim Kasali, CoreTV News, Abuja.
An Abuja High Court sitting in May time has granted bail to former Governor of Sokoto State, Atahiru Bafarawa, the former National Security Advisor, Sambo Dasuki, and 4 others in the sum of 250 million naira with 2 sureties each. The court also ordered the accused persons to be remanded in Kuje prison, pending when they meet the bail conditions. Bafarawa and others have been prosecuted by the EFCC on 22-count charge of alleged misappropriation of about 13 billion naira meant for purchase of arms. Ruling on their bail application, Justice Peter F.N. directed that the sureties must be retired or 7 civil servants should not be below the rank of director. Our correspondent Basil Okafo has more in this report presented from our studios.
The embattled former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki and his fellow accused persons were in court for ruling on their bail application. They were accompanied by their friends and well-wishers who came to hear the court verdict on their release. They were however not disappointed as the trial judge, Justice Peter Afem, ruled that the charges against them are bailable offences. In granting the application, the judge directed that the accused persons must tender their travel passport to the court and they should be produced in court's next adjourned date.
The conditions look similar. All it means is that the same sureties in the other court can also serve as sureties here. So, and they're all in line with the new act, which is to the effect that bail conditions should not be harsh, and it should only be the one that will ensure that the defendant or the accused is present or is available to attend this trial. Basically, 2 sureties each in the sum of 250 million naira, and then with a property worth that value, which must be properly verified.
Former Aviation Minister Femi Fani-Kayode, who came to hear the court ruling, shared his opinion on the probe into the alleged misuse of funds meant for arms purchase.
I'm delighted to be here. Our laws are very clear. Every person in this country, every accused person, is innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. Not guilty until proven innocent. And I believe firmly in the innocence of these individuals, each and every one of them, regardless of the things that we're hearing. And I believe they have their right to protect in court, and they have the duty to protect their names. And I'm glad that we still have courts in this country and that we are civilized people that are governed by laws. And I'm here to stand in solidarity with those that I believe are innocent of any crimes.
The matter has been adjourned till February 2nd and 3rd for further trial.
The Nigerian Army says troops have cleared Boko Haram enclaves and hideouts along Damboa and Jaba Bali Road in Borno State. It added that soldiers on patrol encountered and killed 3 suspected Boko Haram terrorists that had been terrorizing communities around Sabongeri and Damboa. The army added in a statement that one of those killed was the Boko Haram terrorist Amir Imbula Yaga. He was said to be notorious in terrorizing Bale, Waz and Mufurundi villages. The troops recovered an AK-47 rifle with its magazine, 43 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, 1 grinding machine and 5 Dane guns. Other items recovered include 7 motorcycles, 21 bags of grains and 2 Boko Haram terrorist flags. In a related development, troops of 7th Division garrison on patrol at Mainari village in Mafa local government area had an encounter with Boko Haram terrorists. The encounter led to the death of 9 terrorists and recovery of weapons, including 4 AK-47 and 1 palm action gun. Also, the British government is pledged to support Nigeria in the fight against insurgency. British Secretary of Defense Michael Fallon gave the assurance after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa. Fallon says British government is ready to assist the military in consolidating its ongoing success in the war, as well as to ensure rehabilitation and integration of internally displaced persons back into the society. On the spot, the Minister of Defense, Mansour Dan Ali, is convinced that the military is constant to victory against the insurgents.
Well, today's visit is part of a series of visits. Our Chief of Defence Staff was here recently, our Deputy National Security Advisor was here, and the President and I are aware that we both have to deal with this kind of terrorism that is facing our countries. So he has welcomed the offer of more support to help clear the terrorists out of the northeast of Nigeria, and we're going to be working together on that, as well as on the wider issues of stabilization and economic development in these areas that can provide more long-term security.
Timeline is always the in the military. We are giving timeline in December. December is not the, what will I say? It's not the end of the operation. It's a campaign, and campaign lasts more than a year.
We'll take a break now, return with more stories. Just stay with us.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
many things to do for this Nigeria, about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly. Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will strong for Yoruba land, will be strong man, you don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, treasure looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell
on Core Digest.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we'll bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody have the right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.
Glad to have you back. If you just joined us, you're still watching CoreTV News and this hour. For more of our news stories, join us on the social media platforms, facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space news. The local council chairman and councillors elected over the weekend has been sworn in by the state government. Collecting the certificates of return before the swearing-in, the new officials promised to do their best despite the local government not being autonomous alongside the nation's dwindling economy. Local Government Service Commission was also inaugurated by the Governor, Ayodele Fayose, who alleged the federal government is planning his removal, saying such plan would not work. Our correspondent, Rashid reports.
After 5 years of caretaker regime, the 16 local governments in Ekiti State now have a new set of democratically elected chairmen and 177 councillors. The Saturday, December 19th election conducted brought the chairmen to Ado Ekiti, collecting their certificates of return and subsequent swearing-in. Officials of the Local Government Service Commission were also inaugurated. Governor Ayodele Fayose says duly elected local officials is good for democracy, alleging the federal government of working for the fall of his government.
Don't threaten me. Whatever you want to do, come and do it. The very day the federal government attempts to engage me by any standard, that government too will come down. Any encroachment to subdue this state and subdue its people will have consequential effect in Nigeria. I plead with you, cut your coat according to your size. Thank you, Chairman.
Speaking on behalf of our colleagues, Shadifa Barusi says governing a local government is a Herculean task in the face of local governments not being autonomous. They, however, promise to cooperate with the newly inaugurated Local Government Service Commission.
The 6-point agenda, I think we have 6-point agenda. We have the health, we have youth development, and our youth is not going to be left out. But I want to say we don't have an autonomy yet. We are going to work under the guidance of the state governments.
We are prepared collectively to achieve our goal without consulting anybody and to deliver as expected of us.
With grassroots governance and its commission now in place, it is hoped that government will truly get nearer to Ekiti people, even as the APC still kick. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
A member of the Osun State House of Assembly, Tubosun Oyintuloye, has warned the Senate against passing any anti-masses bill into law. Oyintuloye, who is the chairman of Osun State House Committee on Information and Strategy, spoke on the backdrop of a proposed bill titled Bill for an Act to Prohibit Frivolous Petitions and Other Matters Connected Therewith, sponsored by the Senate Deputy Majority Leader, Senator Bala Ibn Nala. The bill stipulates a 2-year jail term and option of 2 million naira upon conviction for anyone who posts abusive statements on the social media, while it will become unlawful for anyone to submit any petition and statement intended to report the conduct of any person for the purpose of an investigation, inquiry without a duly sworn affidavit.
The Nigerian Senate we should not use our platform being the representative of people to assert ourselves in any bill that would curtail the expressions, freedom of expressions of our people, because by doing that it will amount to a repression. We must have it at the back of our mind that we are representative of these people.
The leadership of the Nigerian Union of Journalists has called on the Senate to institute laws that will guide the activities and perfection of the press as a watchdog of the society. The president of the union, Wahid Odusile, said Nigerian journalists are not given a place of pride as they do not get their due respect, and called for laws that would safeguard the profession, especially from infiltrating quacks. He also complained about the poor remuneration for journalists compared to what civil servants and other professionals take home. In a quick response, the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, assured the leadership of the Senate's total support and commitment in moving journalism forward in the country.
We want to seek the collaboration of the National Assembly, first for an enabling law that will make journalism a profession where we can regulate our practice. We are not asking for government regulation. We are asking for a law that will actually empower us to regulate ourselves. But if the media is not working as expected, then this democracy will be in danger. And part of the things that is even militating against the media working effectively is the issue of non-payment of salaries. You'll be shocked, Your Excellency, to know that in some media organizations, our members are being owed 25, 26 months salaries. Even in government, some government media organizations, we are owing our members. And this is why we are saying, even if we have the force of the law behind us, regulate our practice, and even we are looking at the National Assembly helping us to put a law in place that why people should not be owed salaries.
What are those laws that we need to pass that will make it more efficient? And I'm happy to what you said, that there must be laws to regulate the practice. And I want to say one thing, I will not support any government regulation. I think you should be self-regulated, you should self-regulate yourself. But I agree with you entirely that we must have that law that begins to provide that enabling environment for self-regulation and also enables the environment that the professionals really come into your business, not just anybody that's looking for a way to make money.
The refusal of MTN Nigeria to pay the 780 billion naira fine imposed by the Nigerian Communication Commission has generated varying expressions from Nigerians. According to a report, the telecommunication company is suing the regulatory agency over its dissatisfaction with the penalty issued by the Nigerian authority. Our correspondent saw the views of some legal practitioners on what this development portends for the Nigerian economy.
MTN Nigeria's inability to disconnect 5.1 million unregistered subscribers after several warnings in August and September from the Telecommunication Regulatory Agency has resulted into NCC imposing a fine of 1.4 trillion naira. Following negotiations between the two parties, the fine was slashed to 780 billion naira. These legal practitioners present varying opinions. While some submit that the legal action taken by MTN is right, others are of the opinion that negotiations between the two parties would have been better.
That they are body corporates, they have right to sue and to be sued as well. I don't think there's any legal implication by going to the courts. What they just seek is a clarification, whether to go on and pay the stipulated fine or maybe the court should vary the fine. I think they are on point by going to court. They are on point.
It's good. It will also develop our jurisprudence here. Here is a company that has an international affiliate, challenging the right of NCC to administratively impose fines on them. You know, generally fines are imposed by when you have a judgment against a party. You know, as a juristic person, they exercise their rights, and that should not be an issue. The court will decide NCC should be ready to defend the decision they've taken to impose those fines against MTN.
However, these lawyers say MTN has just succeeded in incurring more cost for themselves.
That does not mean that MTN has any they are sure that challenging the fine that they will succeed. I doubt it. And that they might even incur more money because all the money they are now investing on, sorry to say I'm a lawyer too, but then hiring 10 lawyers, 7 lawyers, senior advocates, that would have gone a long way in the fines they ought to have paid.
If MTN had complied with NCC's directive to ensure that those 5.1 million subscribers are registered, this suit would not have come to, you understand? So any company coming into Nigeria will, if it's people by right-thinking people, then we know that, look, this country has laws. And anytime such laws are flouted, there will be repercussions.
It is hoped that the judiciary will expedite judgment on the MTN NCC case to rekindle the hope of Nigerians and foreign investors. This will ensure growth in foreign investment and the country's GDP at large. Sarah Ayuku, CoreTV News, Lagos.
It has now been confirmed that no life was lost at the fire incident which gutted one of the plazas at the popular Wuse Market in Abuja on Sunday. Although the cause of the inferno is still not being determined, there are speculations that the fire may have been started by firecrackers stored in the building. Our correspondent, Olajumoke Olatunji, was at the scene to give us an update on the inferno. Her reports.
Normalcy has returned to the popular Wuse Market in Abuja, but one of the plazas, which serves as a storage to some shop owners in the market, was gutted by fire on Sunday night. Property including electrical and electronic appliances, gadgets, generator sets worth millions of naira were lost to the inferno. Eyewitnesses could not readily say what caused the fire, but speculated that the cause may have been knockouts and firecrackers stored in the plaza. They praised the timely intervention of the men of the fire service who arrived at the early stage of the fire.
For now, I don't think we can ascertain that. We have a fire investigation unit in our office, and I'm fully sure the office will send them to come and try and ascertain the cause of the fire.
Yusuf Mohammed, a trader in the market, also lost some property in the unfortunate fire.
Yesterday at about 6:30 p.m., we heard people shouting, "Fire, fire," but before we got there, the fire had escalated. They said it was caused by electricity damage. There are electrical equipment like radio, fans and so on. We cannot ascertain how much was lost because the equipment belonged to so many people and they were much.
The chairman of the Shop Owners Association in the market, Okoro Kate, confirms that no life was lost in the inferno.
This is the scene of the fire incident. This is Abayaji Plaza in Wuse. And you can see from what's on ground now that even the men of the fire service are still on ground, trying to make sure that the fire does not go beyond control. Since 6 p.m. yesterday, we have been on this. And by the grace of God, no life was lost. And as much as possible, we were able to scavenge what they can be able to scavenge from the property.
As a result of this, calls have gone out to governments to install fire hydrants and lightning in popular places, especially markets, to reduce recurrences of such incidents. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Abuja.
In view of the wave of the fight against corruption in the country, the National Orientation Agency, in conjunction with the office of the head of Plateau Civil Service, organized an anti-corruption seminar for directors and permanent secretaries. The seminar is organized to warn them of any involvement in corrupt practices. Our correspondent has more in this report.
The State Director for the National Orientation Agency urged civil servants in Plateau State to become true Democrats who have the people at heart. He laments the situation where civil servants are caught in the web of corruption when they ought to be the ambassador of the country's democratic values.
When the people are the subject and object of governance, then such government is called a democracy. So democracy is about people. Democracy is not something that elected people operate. Everybody in society.
Also, the head of the Plateau State Civil Service, Izam Azi, stated that it will be easy for any civil servants to stay away from corruption if they key into the agenda of the present administration adding that there will be no sacred cows if anyone is caught in the act.
Here in the state, we know that this government has 5 key policy thrusts, one of which is the issue of peace, security, and good governance.
And speaking on the theme, stemming the tide of corruption, the guest speaker admonished the elites of Plateau State Civil Service to see corruption as a cancer that would destroy all if not stopped. She stated that there will be no corruption if no one is corrupt.
Fighting corruption is akin to fighting for the soul of this nation. And this corruption is not that it's somewhere else, it's within us.
The state government has lifted the order restricting vehicle and human movement during the December monthly environmental sanitation exercise, expected to come up on Saturday, December 26, 2015. This is to allow free movement of persons during the end of the year festive seasons and to allow for a joyous transition to the new year. Commissioner for the Environment, Babatunde Adejare, stated this at an interactive session with journalists. Adejare, however, urged Lagosians to still observe the monthly exercise and clean up their homes and immediate environment, irrespective of the lifting of the restriction order, which is only for the month of December, adding that the monthly cleaning exercise will resume in the new year. The wife of former Lagos State Governor Abimbola Fashola has charged children to be hopeful and approach the future with confidence. Abimbola gave this charge while speaking during an end-of-the-year party organized for the physically challenged and orphans in Lagos State. Correspondent Victoria Solomon has the reports.
Children are the heritage of life. It is in this vein that the wife of the Minister of Power, Works and Housing organized a party for the physically challenged and orphans in Lagos tagged Giving Back. She advised Nigerians to help the less privileged as we celebrate at this festive season.
I'm from the background of giving. I love to give, and most especially when it's festive season. And this is the season when you show love, you give love to people, and most especially our children. It's time for us to be with them, sit with them, know what's happening in their world. And I just feel that this is the best way for us to do it. And as well as those who have been asking, oh, won't we have Christmas party this year? I said, okay, let's do this. Let's throw this for the children in conjunction with Gospelella International.
Music and comedy were part of the fun for the day.
If you're happy and you know it, say Jesus. Jesus. If you're happy and you know it and you really. I don't get that laugh. Please get out of here for me. Thank you. All right, you can come forward. The dance is getting tougher now.
For his part, DJ Gospelella says as the Yuletide season beckons, people should learn to show love by giving at this season.
Christmas time and it's giving time, and this is, you know, for me and for Madame, I think doing what God says that we should do, and that basically is ensuring that those amongst us who can't do certain things for themselves, if we're in a position to do them, we do it. So we are giving back to, let's call it a CSR or kind of, we are giving back to society, you know, and thanking God for all that He has done for us throughout the year 2015.
The children too were not left out as they danced and had fun with bouncing castles and several toys. The children expressed their gratitude to Abimbola Fashola for putting smiles on their faces, and they also used the opportunity to wish Nigerians Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Victoria Solomon, CoreTV News, Lagos.
You're still watching CoreTV News on this hour. We'll take another break now, return with more stories and foreign and sports. Just stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back. On the foreign scene, Burkina Faso has issued an international arrest warrant for ousted leader Blaise Compaoré in connection with the murder of former President Thomas Sankara. Sankara, a revolutionary figure who is still a hero to many in West Africa, was killed on October 15, 1987, during the coup that brought his friend and former comrade in arms, Compaoré, to power. At least 5 other people, mostly former soldiers, have been charged in connection with Sankara's killing, including General Gilbert Diendéré, Compaoré's former chief of staff, who led a failed coup in September. Sankara's murder is one of the most high-profile killings in Africa's post-independence history, and criminal charges could represent a breakthrough in a case that has haunted a West African country for decades. The United Nations says about 1 million refugees have migrated to the European countries in the last 1 year. The new figures, jointly released by the UN Refugee Agency and International Organization for Migration, listed arrivals in 6 European countries since January 1, with a vast majority of 821,008 people landing in Greece. They further disclosed that half of those arriving to Greece, Bulgaria, Italy, Spain, Malta and Cyprus by December 21 were Syrians fleeing war. Another 20% were Afghans and 7% are Iraqis. The two agencies also pointed out that some 3,600 persons died or went missing, while 422 died at sea. And finally, on in sports, Atletico Madrid coach Diego Simeone has identified the hardest thing in football to be finding a club to stay, even as he attributes its club's success to members' bond. The Argentine, since taking over 4 years ago, has transformed Atletico Madrid into one of the biggest in Europe, with the side winning La Liga and also finishing runners-up in the Champions League in 2013-2014 season. Simeone feels team spirit is the reason why players join and want to remain, and added that they have established themselves as genuine title contenders this term. And that's it on CoreTV News and this hour. Thank you so very much for watching. I am Nina Aragwa. Good evening.